First step will be to take this cover off so that we can pull the battery out. It's just basically a cover that hooks down over this part here. So that's being held down there, and then it just snaps over these two pieces here. So you basically just pull this up, and then you're able to take it off the back part, and it does have this connector on it, so I'm just going to work the rubber piece off the connector there, and then that'll let me get this hopefully out of the way of the battery. So there it is. See, it's a little bit padded. I'll just put that off to the side here next to the California canister thing and get to work unscrewing the terminals. So I'm going to take the negative terminal off first, disconnecting the chassis from the battery. It's just a large Phillips head screw, the negative terminal of the battery. So you can see there's the screw. And now we're disconnected. I just pointed out, but this is the ECU, engine control unit, chip inside of a big package to manage the engine on the bike, because it's a modern bike. I'm just going to set the screw on that tripod there, the other camera's on, and get to work taking off the positive terminal. It's not screwed down too tight, but you want to make sure not to strip the screws, obviously, so big fat screwdriver for that big fat screw. Okay, so positive terminal is off and out of the way, and hopefully we can just lift this battery up out of here. Yep, there it is. No problem. Okay, so we got the OEM battery out of the 2017 Suzuki SV650 here on the left. The Furukawa FT12A-BS. It's a sealed type lead acid battery. Feels pretty heavy. It's a dense object. Obviously a much smaller size and also less dense, lighter weight. To the right of that is the Shorai battery we got to replace or upgrade the Suzuki battery to. It's an LFX14A2-BS12. So comparing the specs here, you can see 10.5 amp hour, 175 cold cranking amps. Whereas this smaller, lighter weight one, 14 amp hours and 210 cold cranking amps. So we're getting a beefier battery in a much smaller size. Ain't technology great? So let's go ahead and weigh these and see what kind of a weight change we're making. So we got a bucket, and we got this scale here, which we're going to use the combination of the two to measure the weight of the batteries. Okay, so we got the scale on, it's booted up and ready to go. Okay, tear the bucket now. Alright, the bucket is zeroed out, and let's go ahead and start with the OEM battery out of the Suzuki. And see how much that thing weighs. Okay, so it's just about 7 pounds for that battery. So we'll re-tear the bucket, tear it out, and go ahead and measure that Shorai battery. I already measured it once before, but why not measure it again? Generate a little bit more statistical certainty, get an idea of how bad this scale is. So this time we measured the battery from Shorai. It's about 1.4 pounds. The last time I measured it was, if I remember right, 1.52. So you can see the weight savings that we're getting there is on the order of 5.5 pounds, going from the original Furukawa battery to this new upgraded Shorai lithium iron phosphate battery. So not too shabby. So in looking for a battery to upgrade the motorcycle to, the main concern I had was the OEM battery hold down bracket, which is this piece of plastic here. And it holds the battery down just basically right over the middle of it like that. So the thing I wanted to make sure I got was a battery where the terminals were at least far enough apart that the original hold down bracket would be able to fit in between them. So you can see it's a close call, but it actually fits great. So it worked out okay to use this particular battery. So if you're looking for an upgrade battery for your Suzuki SV650, the new style, 2017 model, this Shorai LFX14A2-BS12 will do just fine. So you can see that it is significantly smaller in all three of the dimensions, including the height of it. But it does come with these little foam pads that have a sticker on the back. So I selected the pads that I did, these three here, to make this battery fit in this spot. So I'm going to stick these two, one to the other, and then stick them on the bottom of the battery bucket or basket, whatever you call that thing, inside the motorcycle, so that the battery here rests on that. Brings it up to the same height as the original battery. And you can see that it is thinner here and in this direction. So my plan here is towards the rear of the bike, mounting this foam pad on the battery basket area here, so that, because this kind of needs to sit in the right spot for those original positive and negative terminal wires from the motorcycle to reach the battery. So I kind of want to put it so that it's sitting in the battery bucket on this, towards this side. So the thinner shimming is going to go on this side. Then the plan is to take this and cut it into three pieces, one to shim it back here, and then two smaller ones, one each for this side and this side, to center it in the bucket the same way that this one is centered. That way this battery bracket will come down over the middle of the battery. So that's my plan for fitting this little battery to the basket or bucket, whatever you call it, the region of the motorcycle that is meant to hold this battery. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so getting ready to install the foam spacer things in here to fit the battery to the Suzuki SV650, and I'm going to start by cleaning up, just getting the surfaces clean that I'm going to be sticking stuff to. So I'm using a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, IPA, just to get any organic junk off the surfaces so that the adhesive of the foam backing is going to stick to these surfaces. For example, these two are going to go just like that. One of them sticks to the other, so I'm going to just go ahead and stick it on there. Okay, so then turn this foam part. Okay, there we go. So this is going to just go straight down the bottom, right here. There we go. That looks good. Just going to push it down in there so it sticks. There we go. So let's get that on there. My precision alignment technique here. Not too bad. So then the next thing to do is to put the shims that are going to go on this face, and this face. And unfortunately, Shorai only supplies one of the nice and thick battery pads with that battery. So what I'm going to do is cut it into three pieces. I'm going to use these awesome Cutco scissors to chop this guy up, roughly into thirds. You don't have to be very precise, but these scissors are awesome. Pretty sure they will chop your hand off if you're not careful. They are angry. Okay, so stick it in there down here. And push it up against that. And by camera, I mean smartphone. So that was interesting. I chose to do it that way, but not too matters. All right. Put this one in here. And we got ourselves a nice little cushiony battery basket. So we can then go ahead and slip the battery in place. Nice tight fit. So that's not going anywhere while you're riding around. Just snapping it over the hole down in front, back into place. It's a little bit too short. This is not grabbing it, so I'm gonna go ahead and add another piece of the padding to the bottom part. There we go. So you can see the way these terminals work is that basically just a plate that gets held down to the terminal on the battery So you have to run these screws through both of them and then put this block inside the battery for the screw to run into. So you can see just a square piece with a little padding on the bottom, I guess to help hold it in place while you're working with it. That's kind of nice. Terminals, they actually send you the battery almost fully charged, or fully charged, I'm not sure which. Because when I went to charge it, it only took a few minutes on the charger to top it up. Yeah, so actually that foam makes it nice because that terminal kind of stays in place for you. If you do anything with a piece of metal that shorts one to the other, it's not going to be a good thing. That's good for your battery sparks and burning and whatnot. Okay, so that's in there and ready to go. I'm going to start with the positive terminal. So it's going to fit nicely. Before I finish the installation with the battery bracket, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure the thing actually has electricity that's sufficient to actually power the electronics of the bike out. So it looks like it does. Look at the instrument panel's coming on, booting up. I can get the fuel pump to turn on by turning on the switch. So it's got enough juice to do that. And I don't want to start it in the garage because I got the door closed, so I'll turn it right back off. But yep, and we're in business. Okay. And then over here it snaps into place. There's going to be a little bit of pressure because I got this pad shimming this guy up, but that's how I want it, nice and tight. So then this is going to fit that slot over this part of the bracket to secure that connector in place. And we're done.